to officially episode 2 of the O'Reilly Wrestling Hangout. Tonight I have my co-host and great guy, the Mark Golden, and we have a special guest, Mr. Lane from the Horseman Hangout.
Yep.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I have some interesting odds. You might have seen these, but I'll discuss that as well. So that's the deal.
How you doing tonight, Mark?
I'm doing great. I was looking. I didn't think we were going to do it tonight. I'm surprised we did, and I'm glad we did. And I'm glad we did not disappoint. We got our first guest here, Mr. Lane. I'm really excited about having him on our show, and he's going to show us his little odds. He had his chalkboard and about Money in the Bank for this Sunday, which you, Stephen, will be attending.
Yes, that is in Boston, Mass. I will be there live. I am so excited to go to a pay-per-view, or a special event as they're called, even though they're still on pay-per-view. But I think it's always great to watch wrestling on TV, but it's nothing like going to see it live.
Yep.
I guess the same could be said for all sporting events. I mean, being there in person is it's a different feeling than watching it on TV. But there's also something I like the play-by-play, and usually play-by-play is good on wrestling, but not always in WWE. But the same for baseball too. I mean, you get the whole video packages and highlight reels and commentary and everything. It adds to it, I think, and different camera angles too, which you can see part of the game that you can't see, or the matches that you can't always see when you're there in person. So there's pros and cons to both,
Yeah. Like a lot of the shows now, like Superstars, I was just watching that. I don't know if you guys watch Superstars, but
Not much.
it's become a heavily recap show.
Yeah, that's true.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that's true, basically, because, you have the Superstars, but then WWE Network has gotten aggressive with Main Event, basically. They're doing that live every Tuesday, really prior to the SmackDown tapings, and there is one little thing I hope we do discuss, SmackDown-related, that will be aired tomorrow. I want to discuss a potential injury that happened on SmackDown. I hope you all are ready for that.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you bring that up? I am sorry. I am unprepared. Like I said, I've been away for 4 days with no internet, so I really don't know what's going on. If you'd like to bring that up, Mr. Lane, go right ahead.
Well, there was some breaking news that happened on the SmackDown tapings this past Tuesday where Bad News Barrett had hurt his shoulder during a SmackDown taping on SmackDown. I think WWE.com had it posted on their website. So it'll be interesting to see if Bad News Barrett does compete in this pay-per-view for the contract. He's part of the contract match, not the championship match.
Right.
Now, I have the odds of the championship match right here that we'll discuss in a little while, so that's what I'm looking forward to that.
That's no good. I don't like that. I'm a big fan of Bad News Barrett. Obviously, he's being pushed with Triple H going out there and doing the impressions on Monday Night Raw, and, it's not a bad impression, but it's not the original, Bad News Barrett is pretty, I wouldn't go as far as saying he's over, but I think majority of the crowd likes him.
Good point.
He is good, and I don't know if this separated shoulder is going to be enough to keep him out of action longer than this weekend, but he certainly will not be in condition to compete. I don't know if they're going to replace him with anybody or just keep what they have. I don't know who else would be left, really, that's worthy in that position. Everybody's got they've got pretty much their top, 15 guys in those ladders matches already, so I can't think of anybody else, unless they bump somebody up from NXT, which I doubt they'll do.
That's an interesting point. You bring that up, NXT, which I've been impressed with NXT, quite frankly. I mean, ever since they had the NXT Arrival, that's really when I first started to watch it on the WWE Network. It's excellent. It's excellent wrestling. I like it. I like it. It's new blood. It's a fresh direction for World Wrestling Entertainment.
Right. Well, the only option that I could see if Bad News Barrett cannot go is, it looks like, the two guys, Rusev and Biggie Langston, will have another match.
Right.
It will probably be added to the card. It's one of those add-on matches. What do you guys think about these pay-per-views that they used to have, like the pay-per-views back in the day, so far in advance you would know what was going to happen, and now it's like they set the 3 matches and then Sunday comes and they add about 3, 4 matches.
Hmm.
I think it's just a matter of giving everybody a payday. I think that's why the Money in the Bank has so many people in it, other than the action factor. With the danger, it's really a dangerous match. There's always, every year, somebody gets hurt in it. When you got that many guys flying around and chairs and tables and ladders, it's going to be really, I can't wait to see it, but it is dangerous. And if I were a wrestler, I don't think I would be looking forward to it. I think of all the matches, and they talk about it, Elimination Chamber and Extreme Rules Night and all that stuff. That was one thing. I think there's something else about the Elimination or Money in the Bank it just really seems like they really go to town, and it's pretty risky.
Very interesting.
Well, I was saying that was a good explanation, but I was more talking about just in general in the pay-per-views how they do it now, where they announce like the main 3 matches and then add matches to the pay-per-view.
I think it's just because it's undercard. It's not as significant. It's not the reason people are gonna watch it in the first place. It's just giving everybody a payday. It's giving everybody a slot on the card.
Right.
I actually agree with him. Mark's right on that. I agree with him.
Yeah, I kind of like to know what, I guess it really doesn't matter with the network now, with most people having the network. I think we 3 are subscribers to the network, so we're going to watch the pay-per-view no matter what, and I think in general, most people, the hardcore fans, are going to watch it no matter what.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. We would anyway, but they always did that. And I think, if you ask me, I think they should cut their pay-per-views in half. I think there should only be about 6 of them a year. 12 is too many. It seems like we just watched one 3 weeks ago. And we did. It's too many. They should only have them. They should be meaningful and significant, even if it is only on the network. For the most part, you're not paying $50, $60 for it.
Yeah, I agree.
But
you know what? I'm sorry, Mark, but I was gonna say, like, NXT, I think has had some. I think they're gonna do maybe about 3 or 4 big shows or something like that, which they do an excellent job of building up to their building up their shows real well. I think they do an excellent job with that. Like, they had NXT Arrival, the first one, then you had the NXT Takeover, which was another excellent one. So Triple H did say in an interview, I think after their little post show, that they might be doing that every few months, which makes sense. And I do agree with you. I think they should do about 6 pay-per-views a year. But then I don't know what you're going to do if you're going to reduce it from like 12 to maybe about 6. So, how's that going to work?
I would say, heck, they could have like bring back a Saturday night's main event, or do like a Clash of the Champions thing. That wrestling is already so oversaturated, though, that if they keep 12 or cut it back to 6 or add more TV, it's on so much that it's pretty rare that something is that you feel like, man, I have to see this. And I haven't felt that way in a lot of years. When I was a kid, when the pay-per-view would come out, WrestleMania would be like, oh my gosh, WrestleMania, or SummerSlam's coming. It's a big deal. And there's just so much of it that it's almost like, heck, and Justin said it himself, if it wasn't for the network, I wouldn't be watching half of these anyway. It's just, I think it's an oversaturation. Yep.
I agree, because I think, and I hate to say this, you did bring up an interesting thing about Saturday night's main event. Unfortunately, the ratings weren't up to NBC's expectations for Saturday night's main event. The ratings, I think, were like very low. They were like in the 2s or 1s, something like that. Their ratings were not as good as they were like in the 80s or 90s, for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, the ratings, and unfortunately for NBC, it failed. NBC Universal basically failed because, USA now has had the WWE back for almost 10 years. Prior to that, it was on Spike TV, or TNN at the time. So that was when, the original ECW was on there. But wrestling is oversaturated. But then if you try to do Saturday night's main event, what network is it going to be on? If you try NBC again, how much it's going to be a potential loss for
Yeah.
WWE. I hate to say it, but it's the truth.
Well, they could just do it on the network itself. But, I
Right.
mean, you're right. The reason why is because, when I was about 12 or 13, the main events were hot.
Right.
You didn't have a 3-hour Monday Night Raw and then SmackDown 3 days later. It was like, Saturday or Sunday morning, and then you had Saturday night's main event was special. It was on late, and you got to stay up and see that. And that was usually a prelude to the pay-per-view that was coming up. And you only had 3 or 4 pay-per-views, so wrestling was like, it was always at that time, and this goes for NWA and all the other companies that were around. It was their big shows were. Wrestling was only on TV a couple hours a week total.
Yeah,
if you had good cable. So and then the pay-per-views came. So it wasn't 7 or 8 hours a week.
I agree.
Yeah,
So
I
before
agree with both of you guys, and as much as wrestling has been kind of exposed more, whereas it is like you guys say, we have Monday Night Raw 3 hours. Superstars, all those programs. It's just, I don't know, to add another program, I just don't see it, like Mr. Lane said, where do you put it?
Yeah.
No, I just meant if they cut back on the pay-per-views, then maybe it would be more viable to have like a special in between them. But there's too much as it is. So no. Yeah.
Yeah, but the only show that I think that WWE has done a successful job in, over the years would be their tribute to the Troop show. I think that's an excellent idea. I don't know if you guys say or NBC does it. One of those 2 networks, I think, does that special, and that's a good show. Those are good.
That's a program that a lot of people will tune it in because they have a niche market. They have the military.
Exactly.
That's their hook.
Exactly.
So, non-wrestling fans, even if they're not wrestling fans, will tune into that because, they might not watch the current product, but somewhere down the line, when they were younger, they might have watched a product and they say, oh, I used to watch that. Maybe I'll give it a shot, see what's going on. And a lot of those shows aren't like the current product. They don't put what's going on, Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. So it's just a variety show. They don't really carry over the storylines because sometimes they tape it, a couple weeks in advance.
Right.
Hey, before we continue, Mr. Lane, tell us about Horseman Hangout. When can we see this, and what's that show all about?
Well, the Horseman Hangout is basically a wrestling and sports show, really. Sometimes we talk pop culture. We'll talk a little bit about baseball, because I was on the Horseman Hangout yesterday, along with Rue and Zorsi yesterday. It was a very solid show. I can't complain about it. I mean, Ryan was the host, Rue was the host, and he did fine. I mean, he did a great job, and I know you guys wanted to invite me to this show this week, so here I am. I'm glad to be on. So
well, I think probably helped that the hangout was a little brief, so you had maybe more to say this week. See, so that was also a good opportunity to get you on the show here too.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, Ryan pulled it together at the last minute, though. I guess he did a pretty good job. How about that?
Yeah, he did. He did good.
Yeah, I'm usually on standby for that show, but like I said, I was out in the woods in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, so I couldn't really I mean, we were about 10 miles from the Canadian border, so if I got any cell service, it would have been Canadian. It would have been like somebody set up there would have been like $10 to $15 a minute, so I was not going to do that.
Yeah, well, you got roaming charges in Canada too, so you got to watch out for that stuff, man, because you just said it, $10, $15. Depends on your phone carrier. You got to talk to your phone carrier about that stuff, man. You got to see what they got to do.
Yeah, that's high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah, that was even if you could get it. I would have had to done. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Black Sheep.
Yes.
Either one of you?
Yeah.
Nah, I haven't.
Yeah, He's
Chris
up in the
Farley.
mountains trying to get cell phone service, and he's walking around, and he walks into the tree. I would have had to do something like that, you know?
Yeah, Chris Farley and Davey Spade. Yes.
Yes. Good movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I got an invite, but it was too late. I was out to dinner last night with my girlfriend and some friends. We went out for sushi, and I came back, and I had missed my calling, so missed the call.
Okay.
But
Now, Mr. Lane, we got you on the show. Me and Mark listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts. Do you listen to any wrestling podcasts?
Well, the only one that I've listened to, I'll be honest, I think I saw it on a YouTube channel. It was the Stone Cold one with Kurt Angle on it. I think it was on. Yeah, I listened to that one a little bit. That's the only one I've really listened to, is Stone Cold's really.
I think as a man who appreciates professional wrestling and a man who appreciates sports in general, I suggest, Mr. Lane, sir, that you go to podcast1.com and listen to the Ross Report, Jim Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to Stone Cold Show. They've got Stone Cold has 2 shows a week, Tuesday and Thursday. Jim Ross is on Wednesday. They've got a host of wrestlers on there, wrestling personalities, and Jim Ross sometimes has sometimes they'll have a sports guy on there too. So it's worth checking out. It gives you a definite insight into the business from different perspectives, different companies, different wrestlers, different age brackets. They got a lot of good guests. It's Jim Ross just talked to MVP last week. He's got Lance Storm on today. Stone Cold had him on. I mean, check it out. Stone Cold's been on for over a year now. Jim Ross a few months. Check him out.
All right, yeah, because I actually listened to the Stone Cold one. I think it was on iTunes. So if they're on iTunes, I'll probably check it out, maybe download it, take a look at it, or take a listen to it. So that's what I'll do.
Even listen to the Stone Cold one. Even if you don't know who the guy is, Stone Cold does such a good job in his research with it that you get to know that person. Like, I don't remember who he had on there last week, but somebody from the Fantastic, was it?
Yes.
I believe
yeah. That's more my age. I knew who he was. Yeah, that was. I remember the guy's name. Yeah, he was from the Fantastics, the NWA days.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I listened to it, and I got a lot out of it. Yeah. Like I said, Stone Cold does his research, and Stone Cold will bring on a guy that even if his public, like you're saying, Mark, doesn't know who he is, he knows who he is, so he can make a good interview out of it.
Mm-hmm.
They each had Eric Bischoff on in the same week, which also was really interesting too.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
check them out though. Yeah, they're really. I think you won't be disappointed.
I'll keep that in mind.
And actually, Stone Cold has this past Tuesday was Vince Russo. I just downloaded that one, and I'll have to take that one a look. I haven't listened to that one yet.
All right.
But
what
I'm
are you going to show us?
He was not on the Unleashed show. I was really surprised he was on the Tuesday.
He doesn't. Here's the thing, Mr. Lane. Steve Austin's show on Tuesday is family friendly, and then the one on Thursday has got the swears. So Vince Russo, I guess, doesn't swear anymore, or he's wholesome, so he was on the Tuesday. What do you got for us? What do you have here?
Well, I was going to show off my odds. You probably read this on Twitter yesterday.
I did, and I saw the show last night, too, yes.
Okay, well, there's my odds right here. I think these make logical sense. I have Cena and Orton as favorites. They're legit favorites, I think, to win the championship. That doesn't mean that they'll win, but I just see them as favorites. If you guys can see it, Roman Reigns, I have him 6-1, Wyatt 9-1, Cesaro, I say 13-1, Del Rio 17-1, Kane, I say 25-1, and also Sheamus 30-1. And the reason why I say Sheamus 30-1 is because he's the U.S. champion. You rarely in wrestling in the wrestling business see a wrestler have possession of 2 championship belts. I think Goldberg was the last person to have like both the United States Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. You rarely see that in wrestling. You rarely see wrestlers that'll have 2 singles belts like that. I think another one that I can think of is the Ultimate Warrior. He had like the Intercontinental Championship and the WWE Championship at the time. They did an Intercontinental Championship tournament, which was won by the late Mr. Perfect. That's why I say Sheamus is a long shot. So what do y'all think of the odds? I'd like to hear your angle on it.
Well, for the benefit of those who do not know, what exactly do those numbers mean when you're talking about odds? 3-1, 5-1, 30-1. What exactly where do those numbers come from?
Well, the lower the number, the more likely they're the favorite. You know, it's like horse racing. It's like horse racing. If you watch the Preakness or the Kentucky Derby, one of those horse races. I just thought I'd throw those odds out there, just for the heck of it, because some people. I got a comment on a private wrestling Facebook group that I'm in. One person was telling me, "Oh, Sheamus should be higher than Del Rio or something," but like I just said, Sheamus is still the U.S. champion, and I don't see a U.S. champion winning the World Heavyweight Championship. You lose value, I think, on the U.S. Championship if he's the World Heavyweight Champion. Like I just said, basically impossible for them to have two singles championships at the same time. It just doesn't work in wrestling. I'm sorry to say that, but I'm just being honest.
There was a time in TNA, and I know you don't watch it, but Kurt Angle had every title.
At the same time?
And one night, yes, he was one half of the tag team champions. He had the X Division title, he had the world title, and then he had a Japanese championship. And one pay-per-view, he was forced to defend all of the titles in one night. It was interesting. It was different. I don't remember exactly how that happened, but he had every championship at one time.
Interesting.
I remember Lance Storm. He didn't have the world title in WCW, but I remember he had like the United States title. He also had, I believe, like the TV title or something like that. And he also maybe had another belt. I want to say he had 3 belts on him.
I thought the two-man power trip, I was going to say Triple H and Stone Cold, I thought they were World Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion. I don't think they were tag champs. But anyway, I get what Mr. Lane is saying. It's pretty rare, and not to mention the fact that Sheamus is not, at this moment, really a top dog as far as, for world title contendership.
Well, now that we're talking about the Money in the Bank, let's go into our predictions.
Hold on a second, Stephen. I believe Mr. Lane had something he was about to say. Go ahead, Mr. Lane.
What I was going to say is I'll start with the predictions. I was going to let Steve do that, but
all right.
I'll pick, just to start it out. I'm going to say Cesaro will win. I might be wrong on that. I want to see a first-time champion.
Yeah.
I love Cena, Orton. Those guys are solid wrestlers. I don't want to see them win this championship. We need to see a first-time champion.
Right.
If you're going to strip Daniel Bryan of the championship, let's see a new guy win the belt. I mean, one person of my Horseman group said Wyatt. Another one might have said Roman Reigns. Another one probably said, I'm just saying Cesaro, just for the heck of it. I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead, buddy.
I'll go down the list. We have John Cena, Randy Orton. I really don't want to see either one of them win it. Like I've said in previous shows, leading up to it when we found out they were going to be in it, neither one of them need that title. They are, they could never win another title the rest of their career and they'll be all set. Cesaro, I would like to see Cesaro win it. And maybe, set up a feud maybe down the road, I don't know, with Brock Lesnar. I don't know, with the Paul Heyman thing.
He's a Paul Heyman guy.
Paul Heyman guy versus Paul Heyman guy, yeah.
Like Sheamus, you guys, I think we all agree Sheamus is not going to win it. Del Rio, I think I've read that he's pretty much not going to be with the company very much longer. Bray Wyatt, I would love to see Bray Wyatt win it. I think he's being pushed, but I also think deep down he might not be quite ready for that spot. He's good on the mic and he's good in the ring, but I don't know if he's got what it takes to carry the titles.
Well, I think it could rekindle a rivalry with John Cena again. We never know, because I know he and Cena had their little rivalry at WrestleMania. He didn't wrestle for the championship. It was it was Wyatt against Cena. I would not be surprised if either Daniel Bryan could have a rivalry with Wyatt if that happens.
Sure.
But my pick's gonna be I think I'm gonna go with Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, interesting, man. That's a good pick. What about you there, Mark?
Well, I would say that, I beat this to death, but it is what it is, as they say. I don't like a title match to be determined with some gimmicky thing like this. You agree with me and Mr. Lane, they should have done some kind of tournament. They could have got a ton of TV time out of it. They could have ended it at a pay-per-view or something like that.
Exactly. We discussed that.
Yes, we have. But since they're not doing that, I will play along. And this, because it is a ladder match and not someone being actually defeated, it does open up the doors for a fresh champion who normally wouldn't pin the champion, but maybe will come out on top as well. This guy won. It eliminates somebody from complaining about doing a job to somebody who they feel is less than them or what have you. Like Cena, people say Cena won't he won't job for Bray. So in an instance with it like a ladder match, somebody like a Bray Wyatt or a Cesaro or Roman Reigns, who necessarily wouldn't get the pinfall win in a WrestleMania main event, could be the world champion come Sunday night based on this particular match type. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for a fresh new face to be the champion, at least for a little while.
Yep.
If not an underdog, quote unquote type, I would think this would be a really interesting opportunity to turn John Cena heel as the face of the authority, the face of the company. It won't happen, but it would be something different. Something different is good. Different twists. A twist.
So how would you do that if you're saying John Cena turns heel? Does he push Roman Reigns off the ladder, and that's his heel turn?
I would think his heel turn would be screwing Randy Orton over because he's their guy. So it would be something along those lines. It's never going to happen. It's a pipe dream. I just thought it might be. Look at Mr. Lane is shaking his head. What's going on?
Well, I was going to ask you, how many fans have you heard on Twitter and on Facebook and whatever social media you hear ask or demand, oh, hey, when will we see Cena turn heel? When will Cena turn heel? I mean, I've heard fans over and over and over and over and over again ask, when in God's name will John Cena turn heel? I've heard it for the last few years. Years.
Yeah.
That's why I'm shaking my head. I'm saying, huh? What's he saying over here?
I would, if there are certain moments where if that were to happen, it would be like the perfect storm kind of thing. Okay. And I thought it was going to be when they were uniting the championships in the ladder. I thought that could have happened then because they were all so pro Orton, Triple H and Steph were, and maybe the Rumble. I'm kidding myself because I know it's never going to happen. I did see the SummerSlam ad for the poster, and it had John Cena's face beside Brock Lesnar's. I don't know if that's a sign of things to come, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here, or I am. But I think this would be a great opportunity for a Bray or Cesaro or a Roman Reigns to win. I don't think it'll be Roman. I'm gonna go with Mr. Lane. I think Cesaro.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Cesaro too because Paul Heyman. I mean, they say he's the best manager in all of wrestling right now. I mean, let's be real about it. He's probably the best manager right now in wrestling. I don't know if you all saw
he's the only manager
in one.
He's the only manager in wrestling right now, pretty much.
Well, if y'all are trying to bring up Brock Lesnar's undefeated Undertaker streak like y'all trying to do, yeah, well, I mean, I have it on my Instagram where I actually have it right here where where he pinned the Undertaker. I have it edited. I had it video clip. You guys have Instagram by any chance? Or
I don't do that.
I have it, but I just set it up. I don't even use it.
Okay, just curious because I just have that for myself, and it's a good tool. You can watch. I even have the moment where Bree slaps Stephanie and whatnot. I have some wrestling moments on my
Nice.
Instagram. I do. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yep. Cesaro is my prediction. I think.
Yeah, yeah. Me too. And then for
Contract.
yeah. Okay, that's where I was going.
I was gonna say Seth Rollins would be my personal pick for that one. What do y'all think?
You know what? I'll tell you again. I think that is just as strong a ladder match as far as star power as the main event itself. There's a lot of possibilities there. There's no one person that stands out more than the rest, other than maybe Seth. I mean, you still have. We don't know about Barrett. I would have picked him. Maybe would have been cool.
Yeah, but I don't know. See, I think
we could safely say Dolph Ziggler will not win this.
I don't think so either.
He ran around with that briefcase. They said for almost a year or something, like over 100. I don't know how many days he had it. 200 some days at one time. Dolph, last time when he had it, the briefcase. They were talking in the main event, and I think it was really a bait and switch to get people to tune in. They were like, Dolph Ziggler has a major announcement. So I tuned into the main event on the network, and it was just that he has a feeling in his gut that he's going to win the briefcase. I thought, well, that was okay. That was a big shock. That was a breaking news story. But
they got you, Mark. They
did. I fell for it. Yeah, probably Seth. Yeah.
I would say he's the favorite. I mean, if you want him to be a heel and want him to have the money in the bank for a while, I think Seth Rollins would make appropriate sense because he could be, their next corporate champion. Because I mean, look at how the Shield broke up. The Shield kicked. Excuse my language, but the Shield kicked ass last pay-per-view. Okay, they kicked their butts. And then they broke it up. Seth Rollins eventually turned heel, nailed Reigns with the chair, and we know what happened after that. So, and then the Shield broke up, and it's basically Ambrose has been feuding with Rollins. Some of the matches that you've seen on Raw or main event, or you'll see Dean Ambrose run in and just kick the snot out of Rollins. So that's just how I feel about it.
I like that. That was a good angle on Raw. Kind of reminded me of Brian Pillman a little bit when he came out with a hooded sweatshirt on and stuff.
Right.
Or Roddy Piper. I think.
So Seth Rollins? Is that what I'm getting?
Dean Ambrose. Well, we're going to Seth Rollins, but real quick. I think the contract ladder match will be first, and then followed by the title match. I think if a face wins the contract, then a heel will win the title. If a heel wins the contract, then a face will win the title.
Yeah, I think that makes appropriate sense, but, we know how long these contracts are. Some people will just show off the briefcase for a while. Depends on the character. Like Edge, for example. I know Edge no longer wrestles anymore. He won the Money in the Bank years ago, and then he had cashed it in. I think about 5-6 months later, and then he went on to beat Cena for the championship, something like that. So
hey, they could have a cash in that night. You could have somebody cash in on the guy who wins that would be interesting.
You know what? That's an excellent point you bring there, Mark. I wouldn't rule that out at all, but it ought to be interesting.
I am going to go. If Bad News Barrett goes, I am going to go with Bad News Barrett. I know that's shocking, and I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. I could see, if Bad News Barrett goes, I could see Dean Ambrose screwing Seth Rollins and setting up a match at SummerSlam between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
Well, they already have a match at Battleground. I read it. They're going to have a match at Battleground.
Okay, then they set the match up at Battleground.
Well, you know what I think would be really, really cool, and I've said this for a long, long time, and I don't know if it'll come to pass, but if Wade Barrett's injury prevents him from wrestling full time, I think he would be a great GM. Every time somebody, a face, something's great happened for him, he could come out. I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you. That would be great. They would make a great GM.
Interesting.
So if he goes, I'm going to go with Bad News Barrett. So
All right,
All right.
that's a good pick. I think that's a fair pick. I would have said Bad News Barrett as well, but I just think they're pushing Seth Rollins. Trying to maybe push him to a potential championship. I will not be surprised if he does win the World Heavyweight Championship in the long term. That's just how I feel about it. But I'm just gonna say Seth Rollins. He's the favorite. I mean, you've had some other people that have won Money in the Bank matches before. I'm just gonna look at it on the website. Rob Van Dam won Money in the Bank before. Dolph Ziggler's won it before, and I think Jack Swagger's won it before. So basically, about half of the competitors in the contract match have won Money in the Bank before. So I mean, just keep
Well,
that in mind.
why not a fresh briefcase holder in this match? Why not a Kofi? Kofi Kingston is one exciting competitor who, in ladder matches and battle royals, he thrills everyone. Why can't we have a fresh briefcase holder like we're gonna have a fresh
And
champion? This is an opportunity for new face.
Little known fact, Kofi Kingston actually went to college in Boston, so it would make sense for him to win the Money in the Bank in Boston. He grew up, I believe he came over, if I'm not mistaken, I listened to the Colt Cabana podcast when it first came out, and I think he grew up in Boston, and then he went to college there. So
I thought he was from Jamaica. I thought he was from Jamaica.
Oh, that's just where he's built from.
Oh. Well, anyway, I think he's always been such a happy, smiling baby face. It would be interesting if he got the briefcase and it maybe turned him heel over time. He's never changed. He's never been a heel. It would be kind of neat and unique. Or it doesn't have to turn him into a heel. He could carry that briefcase and cash it in whenever he wants. Something different, something new. Like Mr. Lane said, someone else. This is an opportunity. It doesn't have to be always the same 5 or 6 people all the time.
Yeah, I agree with you because I mean we want to see some new faces. I mean, I'll give you an example. I think the best lady wrestler right now, for example, Paige from England. I don't know what y'all think about her. I think she's a very beautiful. I think she's a very beautiful wrestler. I think she's an excellent wrestler. She's good for her age. 21 years old, and she's already won the NXT Championship and the Divas Championship now.
Yep.
So I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, to win it at the day after WrestleMania. That's what I call an excellent first impression, if you ask me. I mean,
hey, her and Sheamus can start dating, and they can be the pale and pale connection. I don't know.
Yeah, let me do a laugh. May I play sound effects on this, please, for a minute?
Sure, go ahead.
Hold on. The pale and pale connection.
It's called a Miracle Whip.
That's a good one.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
she is though. She has. She's really. She's credible too because she's on the smaller side, but physicality, man, she can hold her own in there.
Yeah, she's got a 6 submission hold. I don't know if y'all saw her submission hold. That is
hell yeah.
It is a sick submission hold.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you tell me a lady that can. I mean, it puts AJ Lee's widow thing to rest. I mean, this submission hold is much newer. Now, speaking of it, yeah.
I was just going to say, I don't know who is training the NXT women's division, but the women's division, they're tough, man. Ric Flair's daughter, Natty Neidhart, man, they're all that little tournament they had to crown the new women's champion. That is the best women's wrestling division, I think, in all of wrestling today.
I agree. I would go back as far as the Attitude Era because if you went back to the Attitude Era, like the early 2000s, like 2000 to maybe like 2005, maybe.
Yeah.
That was when the quality of ladies wrestling was very good in the WWE.
Yes.
I mean, you look at Lita, you look at Trish Stratus. Molly Holly was an excellent wrestler too. People forget she was known as I think Miss Madness, I think it was in WCW. I might have the character wrong, but you had Molly Holly, Jacqueline, or had Ivory. Ivory was excellent too.
Ivory was great.
Ivory to me is one of the more underrated lady wrestlers of all time. Not too many people talk about her. She used to wrestle, I think, in the Glow Wrestling organization.
She did. She did. Did you watch that documentary on Netflix?
I did. Yes, sir. Correct. I did watch that. I saw that, and I said, "Wait a minute. That used to be Ivory in WWE."
Yep.
And I said, "Wow, interesting." And they took their women's wrestling very seriously back in those days. It was
well, the Glow. You're talking about Glow. Glow wasn't. I mean, they didn't take it seriously. It was a comedy slash. It was.
Well, yeah.
But the era you're talking about in WWF when you had Trish and Lita and Jazz,
Jazz,
Victoria,
Jazz is another underrated one.
Yep, Gail Kim. I mean, yeah, their division was solid, man. That was really good then. And even Trish, her Hall of Fame acceptance speech, she still called it the golden era of ladies wrestling was those few years.
Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't women that were just wearing like dresses and skirts into the ring like Missy Elizabeth or Sensational Sherry, God rest her soul. Sherry was an excellent wrestler in her own right. We just didn't see her wrestle much. She would just interfere in matches most of the time. But she could wrestle too. But when you talk, yeah, exactly. And she was known for screaming. And I think a lady wrestler by the name of Melina, I think, kind of reminded me a little bit of Sensational Sherry. I really do, with her screaming and her little qualities. I think Melina reminded me a little bit of Sensational Sherry. That's just how I feel about it. But yeah, now the thing I was hoping to bring up also was maybe AJ Lee's pregnancy. What do y'all think about that? I heard rumor about that.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, I guess we now know what CM Punk's been up to. We know what CM Punk's been up to.
Well, I think there was a recent picture of both CM Punk and AJ Lee. I think they were both jogging together, I believe it was. So, they were jogging, and that's all I can go on. But I don't know. See, it's a little head scratching, when it comes to this stuff. As a wrestling fan, and I hope you guys agree with me, I would like to see a Paige AJ Lee match. I would like to see that match again. I want to see that match again. I think most wrestling fans want to see that match again. So I'm hoping AJ Lee is not a pregnant lady yet. Let's see that match one more time.
We can go into our predictions for the Divas Championship. I think this is going to be actually a good match. I really like Naomi. She's one of the better, female wrestlers they have. I mean,
very underrated.
She's got a lot of hard-hitting stuff. She's not. I mean, Cameron, I don't know what they see in her. She's just, she was on the mic and it's not a good just shut the hell up. It's a just shut the hell up,
Yeah, well, by the way, speaking of those divas, I don't know if y'all saw WWE Network today. They are debuting the show Total Divas now on the WWE Network now. So thumbs down for that. Oh my goodness. I think Legends House is a better show. I'll admit it.
My God! Give me 20 more weeks of Legends House. I really was ashamed. I was sad to see that go. And I'll tell you what else too is Legends of Wrestling. Watch that, Mr. Lane, sir.
Oh, I watched that. I've watched that too, man.
I love Legends of Wrestling. That's one of my favorite shows on the network.
And the Legends House is one of the reasons why I wanted to watch the WWE Network in the first place. It was an original WWE Network show. The hostess of the show, and I did some homework on her, is a host. I'm pretty sure you might have heard about her, but I did not until recently. She was part of the Pussycat Dolls band. I think the lady's name is Ashley Roberts. I think that's the actual hostess of the of the
they need to bring her back for season 2.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
She was looking pretty good in that yellow bikini.
Yes, she was.
She was pretty nice. But here's the thing: that Legends House, I watched it with. I was prepared to be cringing because I thought it was going to be corny. I really did. Going in, I thought it was just going to be like cringeworthy corniness, but it turned out to be. I couldn't wait till next week. I really, after even like maybe the first or second episode, I really enjoyed that show, and it came to an end really quickly. And Did you happen to catch the little reunion special they had there,
Yeah.
Mr. Lane?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Everybody except for me and Gene said they'd do it again.
Oh, okay, excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Well,
what was
Mean
your
Gene
favorite-
always plays up the heel, you know. He's
Yeah,
always got to be that little jerk, you know.
What was your favorite episode of that show of Legends House? Because mine would have to be where they played polo with the golf carts. That was funny. That was excellent stuff. I like that. They
I
thought
don't
that they
remember.
were.
I don't remember what episode it was, but I don't know why I found the episode where they went to the hell was it they were doing? Was it yoga or something? I don't know. And
It might have been either yoga or swimming pool, or you mean was it Zumba? Was it Zumba?
Zumba, that's what it was. And
Zumba.
friggin' Pat Patterson didn't want anything to do with it, and neither did I believe it was it Mean Gene and Pat Patterson didn't want anything to do with, or no, Howard Finkel, I think it was.
No, I think Howard Finkel did good on the Zumba. I think he was.
Okay.
I think he was into
One of them was sitting next to Pat Patterson.
I think it might have been Gene Okerlund.
But my favorite episode, I don't know. There was a lot of good ones.
I like the polo one because like some of the wrestlers or former wrestlers thought they were going to wrestle or going to ride a horse. You know, I think Tony Atlas was freaking out about it, saying, "Oh hell no, I'm not riding no horse." But at when they got there, it ended up being a golf cart, which I think was better. And then they had assistant drivers. They had lady drivers that were driving the golf carts, and they were playing polo after that. That was a fun episode. That was fun, and then the consequences were unbelievable. I mean, they had to scoop some crap out of the farm and whatnot, so that was fun. That was my favorite episode.
The little chores they had to do were kind of funny and cute, but it was funny. A lot of that was. Like the little art show, and then they had to do that commercial and stuff. That was all fine. But I really liked when things got real. And you can tell there were moments when there was some tension in the house, or when when they started talking about their personal stuff. It was really compelling. Like you know how you're watching something and you're so into it, and next it's over, and you're like, "Whoa!" It just no. I want more. Give me like 5 more minutes of this. And the one thing they didn't do was explain the beef between Hacksaw and Tony. And I thought they were going to explain that at their little reunion, and they just continued to argue, and they never got to the bottom of why they have a problem with each other.
And another one I forgot, that another episode I liked also was the I think it was like the Know Your Roommate game. So it was similar to the Know Your Roommate game.
Yes, yeah, that was good.
That was good. That was awesome.
Y'all saw that one too?
Life?
Yeah.
What the hell is life?
Yeah.
Piper was cheating too.
He was
That life.
and Hacksaw couldn't read his hand. And and some of the people were trying to blow the whistle on the other contestants and whatnot, and they were cheating on the show. I mean, I'm saying, huh?
I actually read an article about they did an interview. Somebody did an interview. I don't remember the specific publication that did an interview with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and he was talking about the show, and he was talking about Tony Atlas and how he literally did not get along with any of the cast members, including Hillbilly Jim, and he made it a point to say, Hillbilly Jim, he's like a friggin' monk.
I mean, it's been years since we've seen Hillbilly Jim. I haven't seen that guy in like quite some time. It's been years since I've seen him.
He's a pretty big dude. He looks in pretty good shape there, old Hillbilly.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Three things. Hillbilly hosted a show on Sirius Satellite Radio, some country show, and he'd have wrestlers on there sometimes too. But my favorite episode was, I like the roast. The roast of Roddy Piper. I like that one. That was funny. Everybody was really breaking balls. It was pretty funny. I enjoyed that one. But but it could have gone on. They could have had 10 more episodes of that. I thought it was really good. And they all seemed to really get worked. It was a good chemistry there with everybody. but also the end too, whenever they were opening up. And I always thought it was kind of common knowledge that Pat Patterson was gay. I didn't think it was a shocker.
Come on now, the signs were there. I mean, he used to walk around in the dress in the Attitude Era.
Well, that's not just because somebody wears women's clothing doesn't make them gay, Stephen. But the fact that he came out then, but I mean, the whole sex scandal in the early '90s, he was like a focal point of that. Yes, so I kind of thought that the fact, and plus when his partner died years ago, it was pretty well advertised, not on TV or anything, but to those who read the sheets and stuff. So I always thought that everybody kind of knew already that he was gay. It didn't seem like as much of a surprise to me. But stuff like, Hacksaw's wife dying in a car accident, and Jimmy Hart losing his daughter, and Mean Gene's wife donating her kidney to him, and that was some deep TV right there. That was real shit. I mean, they were really opening up. Yeah, it was really meaningful, and that was a good. I got a little choked up a couple times watching that. That was good. That was really good stuff.
That last episode, I think that's what they wanted. That last episode to be that real episode where they expose stuff.
Yep.
But Tony buying soul food too was really hilarious too, because the only one in the house that got it was Hillbilly. The Southern cooking. They got pig's feet and
chitlins too.
Chitlins, yeah.
I did eat a little bit of chitlins myself. My family, we have Southern roots down south, but
yeah.
I wasn't surprised by any of that. So it was interesting that they cooked some stuff, and I'm saying, really, that's interesting stuff there that they cooked. But I thought the Legends House was an excellent freaking show.
Yeah, I could. Yep. 10 more. I wish there was more. It really seemed like it came to a close real quick. Maybe it was just an experiment. They didn't know if it would be that good. Because at first they didn't even have a home for it. Like, they filmed the episodes, and before the network, those shows were filmed like 2 years ago or so.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, they didn't know if it was going to be in USA every week or what. They didn't have a home for it, so they probably weren't going to put a whole lot of money into production if they were never going to air.
That's a good point there, because if you watched a little bit of the Raw shows, I think the Legends House was one of the top 3 shows or something on the WWE network.
Yeah, like every week.
Exactly. That's how popular the Legends House show is. I mean, it was still very, very, very popular, man. Beyond the pay-per-views that they show or the exclusive wrestling shows and whatnot, Legends House was like in the top 3. Had to been like number 1.
Do you think if they do a season 2, which they're already talking about doing it, do you think they should have an entirely new cast, or should they have some of the guys and some new guys? What do you think?
That's a good question. That is an excellent freaking question.
I think they should have a new cast.
Entirely across the board, entirely new.
That's a good question. I don't know, but let me think. But it would probably have to be some WWE Hall of Famers. You want them to be in good shape and make sure that they're TV ready, because then you got some of them that have retired and might not want to do the show. I just don't know who for a new cast, and I'm partially lukewarm toward what's.
Okay, let me put this question out to you guys.
Dude.
If you guys could pick one cast member to be on the new season of Legends House, who would it be?
Roddy Piper.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I should have emphasized that wasn't on the first season. Sorry.
Oh, a wrestler that's not on the first season now.
Like who? Like pick somebody else to be who would be in another season of it who wasn't on the show.
Right.
Okay. Well, I heard Ric Flair's already in talks.
Yeah.
I think Ric Flair's going to be on there. Yeah, most definitely.
I could see Flair on there, but then I'm debating who else, because how many people were on that show? About like 10 people, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
12.
We had Piper.
Roddy, Hacksaw, Tony, Mean Gene, Hillbilly, Howard Finkel, Jimmy Hart,
Pat Patterson.
Pat Patterson.
I think you named about 8.
I think that was, yeah, because every time they did a thing it was 4 and 4, 4 and 4. Yeah, I said Jimmy. I think there were 8.
I think that sounds about right, either 8 or 10. But you know what? Trying to think. I was wondering if any of the former divas would be on the next show, just to mix things up. Like, would a Hulk Hogan be on there? Would a Trish Stratus be on there, or a Lita? That's what I'm thinking, because I know Hogan had his own reality show, which was called Hogan's Knows Best, which eventually turned into Brooke Knows Best. I saw a little bit of that years ago. Who else would they do for a new cast?
I would love to see the Funker, Terry Funk.
There you go. That's a good one.
Now, Terry Funk, he will be crazy. He'll be a nut if he's on that show.
That's what they need.
Mick Foley. Yes. Mick Foley and Terry Funk in the same room would be great.
Yes.
You know what? Mick Foley, that's an excellent one, guys. That's excellent. So, potentially you're saying Flair, Foley, and Funk.
Oh my God!
But you got to think.
If I'm not mistaken, Flair and Foley might not like each other too well.
Exactly. It's automatic drama.
Yeah.
It's built-in. It's built-in drama, just like we had with Tony and Hacksaw. It's built-in drama. Yep.
That's a good point. But then you got to think of which wrestlers are also under WWE Legend contract too. Who's under the Legend contract of WWE that would be eligible for the show. I don't think Jim Ross would count because he's no longer with the company.
He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it in 1,000 years. He'd never do that show.
Maybe Steve Austin. Maybe if he's under Legend contract, I think Stone Cold.
I think he's pretty much busy with his podcast, and he actually has a reality show coming up. I don't know if it's in the can, if it's already been filmed, or... Well, yes, it has been filmed because you've been talking about it for a couple months on his podcast. So
how about some members of the old DX? What about DX Attitude Era? What do you think of maybe Road Dogg or Billy Gunn or even X-Pac, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash? Nash, I think, would make sense.
I don't think any of those guys. I don't think Scott Hall...
Well, Scott Hall has health issues.
To be going on any show like that.
Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake, yeah, he could go on there. Yeah, he's in pretty good. I would say DDP. Health-wise and mentality-wise, I think.
DDP would be a possibility too. I think Diamond Dallas Page, I think, would be a good possibility. But
he could be like the health guru for the group or something.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's an excellent point there. But you got to think. Which you have to ask yourself before they even do a season 2, which legends of WWE are under WWE Legend contract too?
Yeah.
Where they make legendary appearances and whatnot.
Right.
You have to put that under consideration.
Right. Mick Foley isn't, so he would not be one of them.
Right. Yeah, because you got to think of who.
Yeah, I don't think he's on good terms with WWE. The last time I read. Yeah. I don't know. I'll ask him Saturday night.
Oh, the Iron Sheik. The Iron freaking Sheik. Yes. Iron Sheik in Legends House. Oh, my God, yes.
Sheeky, baby.
Iron Sheik? Oh, my God.
Yes. You got to watch. If you haven't ever watched any of his YouTube videos, Mr. Lane Sir,
I think I've seen it.
Oh, he's nuts. The guy is... He's
I haven't seen any of his YouTube videos.
Oh.
I didn't even know he made YouTube videos.
I think he did make an appearance on the first season of Legends House too.
He was at the roast of Rowdy Piper.
At the roast. Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was, yeah.
Because I did see that as well. He was like on an episode of that, so I do remember that part. Excuse me.
And the one that would never happen, of course, would be Vince McMahon, but that will never happen.
No, Vince McMahon, I highly doubt. But you got to think of which legends or Hall of Famers potentially that are in good shape, because those guys were in very good shape.
Yeah.
I still think you could put maybe Piper in the second season. That's just my opinion. Piper was excellent on the show. I thought
So
I
you're
liked.
saying Howard Finkel was in good shape?
The guy gained maybe about a lot of weight. I don't know why he looked like in good. He looked in better shape in the '80s, for crying out loud. Late '80s, early '90s, I'm gonna say. And then
Yeah.
I'm saying, what happened to this guy?
Just put on weight, man. It happens.
Yeah, he's in that. He's probably the best. He's probably the second best ring announcer in boxing or wrestling. Probably Buffer's the best. I think Michael Buffer's is probably the best ring announcer, but Howard Finkel's right there with him.
I have to say, I would have to say for all time, that would have to go to my favorite, Gary Michael Capetta. I don't know if you know.
You would take Capetta over Buffer or Finkel?
Yes.
Wow.
I was always, I loved him. See, again, I was always an NWA/WCW guy from early days, not NWO stuff. Early days, late 80s, early 90s. And Gary Michael Capetta announcing Ric Flair as, for the sixth time, he is the World Heavyweight Champion. The Nature Boy. I mean, that voice that brings me back, man. That guy was the best. Finkel's Finkel. The Fink is the Fink, yes, and that's WWF. But for me,
exactly,
I go back to Gary. Again, I've told you a zillion times, and I'll tell you one more. Watch those old clashes. Watch some of the old NWA stuff.
Oh, I do. I watch some of the old stuff. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong.
Gary's good, but I gotta go with the Fink, man. Fink is Fink, and
so you would take Howard Finkel over Capetta or Michael Buffer. Michael Buffer's next.
Well, I think Michael Buffer's in a different category. If we're talking, overall ring announcers, yeah, Buffer's up there. But
yes,
if we're just talking in wrestling terms, yeah, I would take Howard Finkel over.
I agree with you. Steve, I agree with you, man. Howard Finkel, he was very distinctive. He knew how to present your name.
Not that Gary, I will give it to you, Gary Capetta was good.
Yep.
He was the ring announcer for WCW for many, many years.
Yep.
I don't know was he in. How long was he in there? You would know that, Mark. How long was he there?
Probably from about 88 until about 94 or 5.
Now, who did they go with after that? I know they did Michael Buffer for the bigger pay-per-views and
probably David Penzer.
I think
that's right, David Penzer.
Yeah, David Penzer. I've heard of him too. Yep.
And wasn't Borash a little bit there towards the end?
Yeah. But then he went to I don't recall. I don't remember. Late WCW days. I don't remember.
Interesting. But I would say Howard Finkel's the best, wrestling and ring announcer. But
when the Fink would do that, no, that whole World Heavyweight Champion, that would always give you the chills because you'd wait to see if there were a decision, who got the win, you're not sure, and the winner and knew that yell that high pitch he had. That's Absolutely. What the same thing with Capetta. He'd have that. His introductions were just spot on.
Right.
You always felt their heart was into it, You
yes.
could tell,
yep.
When they would bring in some schmo from the streets, well, they really didn't bring him from the streets, but you know what I mean. Sometimes those guys couldn't go, and I know WWE had a chick ring announcer for a while, and she
Mike McGurk, and that's the daughter of Leroy McGurk, which is the man who hired Jim Ross in Mid-South.
Interesting.
Yep. That's how he got his start in wrestling. Her dad was blind, and Jim Ross helped him out. He was kind of his personal assistant, and that's how he got his start.
All right, let me ask you this now. The current ring announcers in WWE right now.
That's the thing.
You have let's see, Lillian Garcia. You have Tony Kamel, and also I think Justin Roberts. I
can't stand Tony. I really can't. He's a jerk.
He's all right, but I've heard better. I've heard better than him too. I agree with you there, Steve. I would say Justin Roberts is excellent too. I like him. He has an excellent ring announcing voice. I like him. He's very good. I think Lillian Garcia does beyond her ring announcing abilities. She could sing the national anthem. She'll do. She even did "God Save the Queen" in the United Kingdom too. I think she did that.
Yeah, she's an excellent singer. I think they keep her around for so they don't have to pay a bigger name to come in and sing the national anthem for them.
No, she's got some pipes. They keep her around to do that. She does that because she's got some pipes, man.
Yeah, she
That's
does.
what I was getting at. That's what I was going to get at,
She
So
does.
they don't have to pay, these bigger artists just to come in that don't appreciate it. And she appreciates the business, They
Absolutely.
don't have to bring in some, I don't know.
I think the best ring announcer right now, is I would say Justin Roberts. He's excellent. I don't know what y'all think.
Yeah.
I think the way he presents those names, he does it in a very unique way. He just bees himself. He does Del Rio's name excellent. With the little
They do
Todd,
that Todd Phillips guy on Monday night. Did I see that?
Todd Phillips.
Yeah, the
ring announcing.
guy that does NXT.
I think he only did backstage interviews on the WWE app. I think you have Todd Phillips and Brian Saxton. I think
those are
in the ring at some segment.
No, those guys are the play-by-play guys of NXT. Saxton.
Yeah, but I thought I saw Todd Phillips in the ring
Superstars
segment on Raw this past week.
It might have been. I know they do play-by-play for Superstars as well. I think yes,
Okay.
Phillips, Saxton. They do play-by-play.
Okay,
for
maybe
that.
I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
But I think if you watch the app especially on I think Raw for example.
Yeah.
If you watch, and I have it on my iPad, I'll just follow the broadcast on my iPad, and you can get exclusive videos, exclusive interviews, and that's kind of fun. And you can watch the match during the commercial. I mean, that's the beauty of wrestling now.
Well,
you can watch the matches during commercial break. I like that.
TNA, I know you don't watch it, but for a while there.
You there, Mr. Lane?
What's that, Steve? I'm sorry.
No, we're losing you, Steven.
Okay, I thought I was losing you there for a minute.
TNA used on their website when they were live every week. They used to do
I think
when it went to commercial.
I'm losing you guys for some reason.
Can you hear me? Do you hear me, Mr. Lane?
I hear you, Mark.
Yeah, it's Steven.
I'm you for some reason.
All right. When TNA used to be live every week, you could go to their website. You could go to their website during the commercial breaks and continue watching the match.
Okay.
Or you have a heated interview. They did it. You go to the website, watch the match, and then it would go back live. We're going back live in 10 seconds, and then you go back to the TV. I like that. That was a neat little feature that they did for a while there.
Okay, now speaking of TVs, I just have another wrestling question to ask you both. Ring of Honor.
So,
does Ring of Honor have a TV championship for themselves?
Yes.
They
yes.
do? Okay, because I know WWE does not. WCW does. I don't know if TNA has a TV championship. I don't think they do. I could be wrong, but I know Ring of Honor supposedly does. So
They do. That's their Intercontinental / US title.
Okay, yeah.
They have the world title, the TV title, and the tag team. But here's the thing, and I go back to this, and I don't know if you guys will agree, but before I tell you this, I will tell you, do you both know that Josh Matthews got fired?
Yes, I do.
I read that this morning, yeah.
And he was backstage at the TNA tapings tonight.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I heard about that, yes.
Yeah. The only reason it was nothing, no hard feelings, but they're budget cuts, and he's a low man on the totem pole as far as announcing, which kind of sucks because the dude hosts those pre-shows for Raw and all that on the network.
Yes,
He's not a complete schmuck, and he's been there a while too.
I think he was there since I read 2002.
Yeah, he's been there a long time. He was in the first Tough Enough. He was.
Exactly.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was about to say that. Mark stole my thunder there.
Sorry.
He was. It's okay. I mean, it's the truth, though. I mean, he was on the very first season of Tough Enough. I don't know if they have the other seasons of Tough Enough on Blu-ray or not Blu-ray, DVD. Excuse me.
I don't know why they don't have them on the network. that would be a great thing to air. Like have an episode, like they're bringing like certain shows that they've had before in the vault. They should have the Tough Enoughs on there.
You know what? I'm looking forward to that too, but I'm looking forward to Monday Night War. I want to see how that plays out as well because I want to see the Monday Night War. I want to see how that plays out on the WWE Network. It's supposed to be on there this fall.
Were you watching everything at that time, Mr. Lane, sir?
What's that? What like Monday Night?
During when it was all live, Nitro, Raw. Were you watching all of that at the time?
Yeah, I was watching Nitro and Raw. I'll admit, I watched when Nitro was the hot show. I watched Nitro, and if Raw was on, I would watch Raw. But Nitro would do like 3 hours, and I would be lucky if I watched Raw at the time. But Nitro was the show. Whoops, excuse me a second. Let me make sure I got my microphone here. Sorry about that. But I liked Nitro. I liked WCW back in the old days. You know, WWF at the time was doing their next generation, new generation. I used to follow, of course, Razor Ramon, Kevin Nash. I did watch, a little bit of everything.
No, you're talking about when Nitro first started. I'm talking about when they both were. I'm talking like 97 till about. Well, till.
Yes.
The last of it, like the 97 till when Nitro was winning in the ratings, and then when it was at its hot peak and Stone Cold and NWO and all that. Were you watching everything?
Yes, I was, because I remember when NWO would kick butt, and then you had the silent Sting, which was kind of cool. I liked when they portrayed Sting's character when he was the black and white. That was good stuff to counterattack the NWO, which I liked. And I remember some of the videos I've watched him, where he'll reverse DDT Eric Bischoff. He would come through the ring, and he would reverse DDT Eric Bischoff. I love that. That was fun. That was some fun stuff. And they even had a fake Sting try to go after try to go after some wrestlers at the time. But the NWO or the WCW Sting at the time. I loved that when he didn't even say a word. He just let his actions speak louder than his words, basically.
It was like the Crow. That was the Crow spin type of thing. I always thought it was interesting that he was the same colors as the NWO, black and white.
Yes.
And I never knew if that was symbolic of that. It probably was, but but at the time for me, man, I had my VCR going, man, every Monday. And I would usually watch Raw live, and then I would take Nitro and watch it after work. Because I worked nights at the time, so I'd watch it in the morning when I got home, Nitro. But Monday nights were something else. That was something that it was really, for a wrestling fan, it was about as good as it is ever going to be, or it ever was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember when Nitro would show the actual replay again. See,
yeah, they did.
That was the beauty of Nitro. That was the benefit I loved about WCW Monday Nitro. They would show replays on TNT, like right after the original Nitro. That's really why I think they got the advantage. Forget about spoiling the WWE Raw show, giving the spoilers and all that.
Sorry to interrupt you, but when Raw started to kick their ass, they cut that replay because it was like, if you don't watch us live now, you're not going to be able to see us live later. When they were beating ass on Raw, then they would do the replay. But when Raw was coming up, when it was like 98, 99 Stone Cold days, then they cut that replay because they're like, well, if they have the replay, they're going to watch. People are going to watch. I think they got the hint. They're like, well, we can't have a replay because they need to watch us once and that's it.
Right. Yeah, because I know that if you guys have Universal HD, you can watch the replays of Raw and SmackDown on the Universal HD channel, which is the parent company. Yes, correct.
All of them?
Yeah, you can watch Raw and replays of Raw and Nitro. Raw and
now.
Yeah, on Universal, yes. Steve's even agreeing with me there.
No,
Yeah,
it's the current Monday Night, not Raw, not the
Yeah,
past Monday Night Raw.
not the past. I'm sorry. The current ones, the replays from the recent Raws. I'm sorry.
oh, I thought you meant all those times. Oh,
No, no,
I
no,
thought
no,
you
no,
meant
no, no,
all
no, no.
the.
I'm sorry, man. I
I
didn't
was
want
gonna
to.
say, holy! I was gonna say, here, take my money. Where do I get this? I thought that you would have all of that right now. Holy
No,
mackerel!
no, no, no. Well, they do have some Raw archives and SmackDown archives on the
Well,
network.
yeah, they're starting to do that, but I thought you were talking about a deal where you could see all of
No, no, no,
those
no,
now.
not. Well, I'm just saying about the recent Raw shows, like the ones that
Um,
they just
Why
aired on
can't they do
Monday.
that with the network? Why can't they just put past episodes of Raw where you can type in your computer, like if you went to a Monday Night Raw in 1997, you can find out what the date is and type it in, and boom, there it
PS4,
is.
I'll tell
PS4
you.
has.
I'll tell you why, Steven. This is why they don't have everything right now. They give you chunks at a time. If they gave you everything all at once, you would subscribe for 6 months, watched everything you wanted to see, and cancel your membership. If they give you
Right.
chunks of things at a time, it's like, well, this will be coming soon, and then that will be coming soon. It gives you enough that there's enough new programming or classics or
Yep.
whatever every so many months that keeping the membership is important to do. Because if they
Absolutely.
gave you if it was chock full of everything, you'd watch everything you wanted to see right now, and then you'd cancel in a year.
Yep, that's a good point there, man. That's an excellent point. As I was saying, now if you go to the network right now, I was watching the top 10 managers. Now the most recent Raw episode they got is from May 19th, about a month ago. So they're
Yeah.
about a month behind on the Raw schedule. So May 19th is really the latest episode they got there. Now let me go to the SmackDown replays. I think they might have it as recent. Yeah, for some weird reason, I just don't. I just haven't watched as much SmackDown as I would like. Although I'll admit I do record it on my TiVo, but I just haven't had time to watch it as much as I would like.
Yeah.
So, and that's the only lousy part with SmackDown. I remember when it used to come on Thursdays. Thunder came on first. They used to have WCW Thunder that came on Thursdays, and then SmackDown came I think about a year later. So Thunder started in like '98. SmackDown started a year later. I don't know if those programs went head to head or not. I think they did, but I think Thunder for the most like at the tail end of WCW was taped. So that's usually how that went. WCW Thunder was taped basically. So that's how that worked.
Well, Thunder. Eric Bischoff was talking about this on Legends of Wrestling, and they asked why he got Bret Hart in, and he said he signed Bret Hart because he had Thunder thrown at him from TBS, from Turner.
Right.
They were going to have another 2-hour show live every week, and
Right.
he needed a fresh face so as not to have 3 hours of Nitro with the same people and then 2 more hours with the same people. So it was almost like he got Bret Hart in there to be the face of Thunder because they needed more faces. He said because it was already saturated or overkill, too much, and he needed new names in there. And I kind of think that if Raw did that, if they, a lot of people disagree with me, but I always liked the split brands. I liked when Raw had Raw brand and SmackDown had SmackDown brand, and you had a GM on this show and a GM on that show and a champions. It made it feel like if you miss SmackDown, you really missed something. Not the main events on SmackDown this week will be on Raw in 3 days, so you don't have to worry about that. It's the same show almost over and over again.
Well, Mark, I agree with you there, man. I agree with you completely. I mean, this was like prior when WCW had been bought by WWE, and quite frankly, I think Raw had the WWE Championship, and then you had the World Heavyweight Championship on SmackDown. You had main titles on each brand.
Yes.
They weren't clashed together like they were. They
Mhm.
used to have the undisputed heavyweight championships too. I mean, they used to have that, and then you had Eric Bischoff, who was the GM of Raw at the time. He had brought the then World Heavyweight Championship belt from the old WCW gave it to Triple H, and that belt has really been in play ever since.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say that was a belt that Ric Flair originally had that Jack Tunney, the late Jack Tunney, supposedly censored. So
Yeah.
I just had to bring that up.
Well,
So did we pick... Sorry.
Okay, you guys go ahead. I'm gonna be right back. Hold on.
Yeah, shoot.
Did we actually pick who was going to win the Divas Championship yet?
I'm sorry, man.
I think we started to, but I don't think we actually went into it.
You know what? I'm going to say that Paige retains the championship. I think so. I think Paige.
Yeah, I think Paige will retain it. But
Cameron, I know Cameron has beaten Paige before, and also Alicia Fox had beaten Paige before. People overlook the fact Alicia Fox beat Paige in London, in her home country, and fans were booing the crap out of Alicia Fox, and the major highlight of that was when she poured I think a Coca-Cola drink all over her boobs and all that. Man, did you see that? Right. she had attitude. Alicia Fox had attitude, man. I'm just gonna say Paige will win. I think it's gonna be. I think it could be at least a 5-minute match. If they go 10, great. But I think it's gonna be about a 5-10 minute match. As far as the prediction goes for the Divas Championship, I'm gonna say Paige will win. If Cameron wins, I'll be shocked. But then, or excuse me,
it's actually Naomi's.
Naomi. I'm sorry. If Naomi wins, I'll be a little bit surprised. But I think the Funkadactyls will break up.
They're definitely breaking up. You can totally tell on commentary. Cameron was saying, oh, she doesn't have my back, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and she was just frozen there. See, when Cameron was wrestling Paige, Naomi was just standing there. She didn't even help Cameron at all. This was during the main event matches. I think it was on main event a few weeks ago, where those two ladies had went at it. But I think Paige will win. I personally, as a wrestling fan, am waiting to see a Paige AJ Lee rematch because when AJ Lee's a very popular diva still. I mean, she's just taken a leave of absence from the WWE right now. But she was one of the best ladies champions, in recent history right now. I mean, like it or not, the lady could wrestle. We just can't dismiss her abilities at all. And the truth of the matter is, she had a tattoo on the back of her neck, and I think it had the specific date on when she won the WWE Divas Championship. So I don't know if y'all knew that. That was her actual tattoo of the date on the back of her neck. She did say that. So yeah, and she
never had a rematch. Usually the champion gets defeated, they get a rematch at some point. She never had that. So you're right.
That's my point. As a wrestling fan, I want to see that rematch. Mm-hmm. Who's the better lady? People overlook the fact AJ Lee was on NXT too. She was on NXT as well. I mean, my goodness.
I didn't realize.
Yep.
Is the one? Excuse me here. We hit a bunch of topics here. We were talking about the gold belt, the belts, the SmackDown and Raw split roster. I wanted to get back to that 1 second, and then we'll get back to this.
Okay.
Remember, you said about the champions. There was one. At one time, there was one world champion.
Right.
And it's like sometimes a SmackDown guy would get the title shot at that pay-per-view, and then a Raw guy would get the title shot at that pay-per-view. It kind of gave each brand a bragging right for that month.
Right.
That was an interesting deal that they had. With Undertaker was a champion. Sometimes he'd wrestle a SmackDown guy, and then sometimes he'd wrestle a Raw guy. I like that. They should do something like that again because it made each show unique. Like, you had to watch this show because it's got its own wrestlers. It's almost like its own brand. They should do that again. I really think so. A lot of people don't agree with me, but I think they should do it. Try it one more time.
And I remember they did a draft, I think, about on a yearly basis, like you're saying,
yes.
Mark.
Usually right after WrestleMania they did that. Yep.
They would do drafts and see who got the draft pick. It would be a very exciting Raw show. Don't get me wrong.
Those draft Raws were actually, that was very exciting. They were always something, like, it was very, you never knew what was going to happen. It was always something to look forward to on those Raws, yes.
And then if you look back at one of the best of Raw shows, I think I saw an episode recently where when John Cena had first won the World Heavyweight Championship, I think it was Cena. This was a show from St. Louis, 2005, when John Cena came on on the Jericho highlight reel, and that was an interesting Raw moment. That was the Raw's first draft pick, and really John Cena's career really lifted off after that. Let's face it, like it or not.
Yep.
I think
they do a deal like they'd have like a SmackDown guy versus a Raw guy, and whoever wins this match gets the next pick, and different things like that.
Right.
They did some unique things where just the taking turns with the draft had a lottery ball thing, and who you're going to pick or take. It was a good, very unique storyline, and it would be nice if they tried something like that again.
I rule it out.
Yeah, it was good. But you were getting to this the ladies' title match on Sunday. I think it would be interesting and unique to see who's the challenger. She's crazy right now, right? Isn't she like flipping out? She flips out. She gets really agitated. She gets angry.
No, that's Alicia Fox.
See, that's what they should be doing right now. She should be going for the championship.
I think she had a championship match. I think at the last pay-per-view. I think she already had her championship match.
She lost and got mad and ran away. That's right. Yeah, okay. She screamed and flipped out.
She had her championship match. You know, she beat Alicia Fox, but then Alicia Fox, and I just told this to Steve about 3-4 minutes ago, that Alicia Fox had beaten Paige in London at the time on a Raw show.
Oh.
Yeah, and the highlight of that was when Alicia Fox had poured a drink all over her boobs basically at the end after she won the match. So I do remember that much. So
non-title, I presume.
Yes, it was non-title. Yes.
Well, I don't think that Davis Champ is going to lose right now.
No, I doubt that too.
Yeah.
And then we also have the tag team championships. The Usos, the champions, defend against Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. I think Eric Rowan and Luke Harper win the tag titles.
You know what? I've heard some talk about that. I think my friend Z, my fellow horseman friend Z, was saying that the Harper family might win the championships altogether. They could win the tag titles and probably the World Heavyweight Championship. Now Mark had brought up an interesting group earlier in the show with Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, for the record, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, they were the tag team champions. Triple H was the IC champion, and Stone Cold was the then WWF champion.
You know what? I don't know if they were tag champions, but I know for sure.
They were.
I know that they challenged Undertaker and Kane for those titles. I don't know if they actually won. They were. So they had. Okay.
They were, just for the record, because I do remember. I wasn't at the Raw show or SmackDown show of Philadelphia, but I do remember when Jeff Hardy had beaten Triple H for the World Heavy or for the IC Championship, and then Triple H won it back again. And then Stone Cold had a long run at the championship belt. I think he had lost to Kurt Angle, and then he beat Kurt Angle for the championship. I think it was a month or two later. This was 2001. We're talking about right now.
Yep.
So I do remember that. This was right after the WWF had bought WCW. So yeah, Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin, they were tag team champions. I think it was at the Backlash pay-per-view. I think it was where I think it was Undertaker and Kane. I think they were the tag team champions. As a matter of fact, let me play that pay-per-view. Excuse me. That's the power of the PlayStation 4 network. Hold on a second. Well, I'll let you all talk here.
I think they lost to Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho.
Yes.
That's when Triple H tore his leg. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he tore his knee, his quadricep.
Quadricep muscle.
Yeah.
He was out for about, I think, 6 months. He made his epic return to Raw on Madison Square Garden, and that was one of the best, standing ovations you will ever see in the history of Raw. All right, let me just get to that here. Yeah, I'm just watching watching the the backlash of the pay-per-view here, the backlash of 2001 here. As I see here, Triple H kicking butt as usual. Yep, and this is where they won the championship. Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
I'm just burping. Excuse me.
I know.
Let's see.
I can relate.
Yeah, let's see. 1, Earl Hebner with the count, 2, and yep. Yeah, and I think Paul Heyman was a color commentator at the time too.
What was the pay-per-view on that?
2001 Backlash.
Backlash. Okay.
It was when Stone Cold and Triple H won the tag team championships.
2-man power trip.
Yes. Yep. See, as you can see right here, I don't know if y'all can see this. I don't know if y'all could see that. That's when Triple H and see that's when they held on. I don't know if y'all see that or not.
I can see the shadows, yeah.
Sorry, but not the best of quality. I don't think so, but
No.
but I wanted to just prove a point to Mark there. I had to straighten them out a little bit. So
I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
that's all right. Well, I helped you out there, buddy. So yeah, both Triple H, Stone Cold, they won all the championships at the time, the major ones anyway.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that straighten that out. But yeah. Yes, sir.
So what is your pick for the tag titles?
Tag titles, I'm going to say Usos retain. That's my prediction. I'm sorry to disagree there, Steve. I think Usos retain.
Hey, you know what? We all got our opinions,
I like the Usos. They're a strong tag team. I think they're still a hot tag team right now, so I'm gonna go Usos. I will not be surprised if they drop the titles on a Raw show. I think Usos will retain.
Hey, they might feud into SummerSlam and maybe drop the titles there. Who knows?
Yeah, I just don't see a solid tag team that could be a legit threat. I mean, Stardust and Goldust, they just started out. Ryback, we don't know about them too much. Can they win the tag team championships in the future?
God, I don't know.
They're Paul Heyman guys, so you never know. But I don't think so either. I think Usos retain. That's just me. That's just my opinion. Mark, what do you think, man?
I tend to agree with Mr. Lane. I don't think we're going to see the Usos drop the straps anytime soon. And the Wyatts are a credible threat to them. It'll be a good match. They beat the hell out of each other at the Falls Count Anywhere or the Last Man Standing match. Yep. They were all out there together. I don't think that they're going to lose the titles though yet. No.
And one thing I wanted to bring up from Raw is what do you guys think about Vicky Guerrero firing? What did you think about that segment?
Good question. Good question there, Steve. I heard rumor about Vicky Guerrero maybe potentially being released around WrestleMania, but then she still stuck around for about, I'll say, WrestleMania, I think, was in April. This is June, so she hung around for about almost 3 months. So Vicky Guerrero was an excellent heel. I mean, when she had that aggravating voice, when she would say, "Excuse me, I have an announcement to make. Excuse me." But she was very unique, and God bless her. God bless the Guerrero family because they're a strong wrestling family. I know the daughter of the Guerreros did wrestle in NXT, but I think she's no longer under contract with WWE either. She's a beautiful. She left, beautiful. Yeah. She's a beautiful lady too. I think she's only like 20, 22, 23, I think, or 20. I'm not sure how old
Shaw Guerrero, I believe her name is. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was a daughter of the late Eddie Guerrero, Vicky Guerrero. So I do know that much, but.
They had her in one of the Eddie Guerrero DVDs. I can't remember which one.
I know that I think Vicky managed to become her own person, her own personality, without riding the coattails of Eddie Guerrero, the Guerrero name, which Stephanie accused her of in the storyline. But she actually did not do that. She became her own personality and her own character.
Absolutely.
And the fact that she paid a little homage to him at the end was really nice. The lion cheek still wiggle there. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I love that.
But I think she requested the time away. She requested to be let go because she wants to spend more time with her family. Who can blame her? She's been on the road with them for a long time.
I mean, pretty much since, I think she pretty much came on, I don't know, was it 2008, 2007?
I don't know when she started, but she's been with them pretty much the whole time. She came and left a few times, but more or less she's been there throughout since Eddie passed.
Exactly. But
It was 9 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say a classic moment in TV where she got Stephanie McMahon. She might have lost the match, but then she had a great last moment by putting Stephanie McMahon in a pool of pudding. Yeah. I mean, that was a great moment right there. But then Stephanie got agitated, saying, "Give me a toe or something."
I'm sure Steven enjoyed seeing mud, whatever that stuff, pudding or mud covered Stephanie McMahon, right?
That was beautiful.
Yes, I did.
That was beautiful, man. that was a great moment.
Yes, I enjoyed it very much.
Yep.
But do you guys have anything else you'd like to talk about tonight?
I'm looking forward to the pay-per-view, to be honest with you. I want to see who wins and see how my prediction. I want to see who will win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Like I said earlier, I'll let you look at the odds one more time, ladies and gentlemen of the Hangout. Those are my odds. I'm hoping that either this guy here, this guy, or this guy, one of the new guys. I was hoping, but if I had to pick out of those guys, I would say Cesaro.
Yeah,
that's my personal pick. I mean, when he does that spin move with those wrestlers, the fans usually get up to their feet. They just love when he swings the opponent, and he has an excellent underrated finishing move. I forget the name of the finishing move. Darn it! Crap. Neutralizer. It's a neutralizer is his finisher, which is I would say whoever wins this match, if it's a new person that wins this match, I think could win Breakout Star of the Year. Cesaro, I think would be the Breakout Star of the Year if he wins this match. He already won the Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that Hogan had brought up. So I think Cesaro would have a very good shot of winning. I really do. Yes.
You know what, Mr. Lane, sir? Did you notice, though, and this is something I've been noticing a lot of.
What's that?
Is when Cesaro won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, that was one of the pops of that night.
Yes,
the crowd exploded.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't had that kind of cheer since he's gotten together with Paul Heyman, and I think that it kind of backfired on them. I think they expected his allegiance and alliance with Paul Heyman to further increase his popularity in a way, but it really hasn't.
Well, he hasn't spoken much at all. Really, Paul Heyman's been blah, 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 but Cesaro has not talked much.
He didn't talk much but prior to that. He really didn't. He was always running with Zeb Coulter and and Swagger. They had a little bit of a spat, but I mean, he didn't do a whole lot of talking. But when he was the U.S. champion for a while, he was with the beautiful
Oksana, who's no longer.
Oh, she was. You talk about sexy divas. I always thought she was really nice. Everybody loves Lana, but Oksana, that dark hair, raven hair, those eyes, man, she's nice.
Was that when he was yodeling?
What's that?
Was that when he was yodeling?
I don't remember any of that, but I know that he was the U.S. champion for a while and talking about being an American citizen and everything. But hey, anyway, it seemed like his popularity has waned since WrestleMania, and that's a shame. And I don't think that was their intention. Maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe that was it. Maybe he was catching on, and they weren't planning on turning him a face. So putting him with Heyman in the spot that he's in now, and he's a heel again. Maybe that was the intention, was to tone down the popularity that he was gaining as far as being a face, because he was becoming a face. And they need to do that with the Wyatts too, because the Wyatts are way over, and they're supposed to be heels, but they're way too popular for heels. Heels should not be cheered. In any era, in any decade, heels should not be cheered. And
they boo faces too. I mean, let's face it, John Cena always gets a mixed reaction. No.
Yeah, it's mixed. It's not a reaction. Yeah. You were asking earlier though about Mr. Lane, sir, about the TV title is in ROH, and I'll say this again. I think if you have, I'm sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place here. I could go on all night, but the TV title was always contested with a time limit, which was always defended on TV, and I think they should do that again somewhere. Whether it be WWE, where every week on Raw, the TV title is defended on a 15-minute time limit. You know, put it on a guy like Ziggler, put it on a guy like Cesaro, and have that 15-minute gap of time where what is that? I don't know. I heard something. But anyway, that 15 minutes that you have to win your match. Every match should be there should be a time limit for every wrestling match. You watch sports, right, Mr. Lane, sir?
I do.
There is time restraints. There are, when something's coming to an end. Three strikes, you're out.
Right.
Innings, different quarters of a football game. Exactly. Wrestling should be no different. Wrestling should have this match is to be contested within the constraints of a half hour or an hour or 15 minutes. I like that old school style. I think they need to do that again in wrestling.
Okay.
What do you think about that? Would you like if they had time limits on wrestling?
It wouldn't bother me at all. I mean, it wouldn't. It really wouldn't. I mean,
just think of the drama that would build.
Well, the only quality match that I do remember time limit wise, and it was one of the greatest matches in either NWA or WCW, whatever the organization you think of. I think of the Ricky Steamboat Ric Flair match. I think in 1989, that was arguably one of the best matches in the history of wrestling overall, and it was a time limit match too. So
all of the title match in those days in the NWA, all of the championship matches were time limits.
Right.
There was a time you had to win the match or lose the match within that period of time, and it was a great way to get it would build drama. If you would go to a time limit draw, it would be like, well, the challenger brought the champion to the limit. He wasn't quite good enough to get him to win, but he brought him to the limit, and that it adds to the athleticism, it adds to the realism, it adds to the drama of it.
Right, I agree.
So if they were going to do a TV title, it used to be 15-minute or half hour. They should do it again. It should just be specifically defended on Raw or ROH TV or TNA, wherever they do it. Keep that time limit in there. And every match should be a time limit. There's no limit. There's no rules. There's no governing body of why we're doing what we're doing. And if you have rules that if they strengthen the rules, a heel can use that. He's breaking the rules. He's doing things behind the referee's back. Oh, you remember how mad you used to get when you were a kid when the referee would miss some chicanery? And you would be so pissed off, like, oh, the referee missed that. Oh, they got the tag. Oh, no. There's none of that anymore.
Right, yeah.
And they need to bring a little of that back. Not entirely, but enough of it that each match matters. Every win should matter, every loss should matter, and every match should matter. Otherwise, what's the point of it? What is the point
Earl
of
Hebner used to piss you off big time.
He'd miss stuff, and you'd be so mad, or the guys would be choking somebody with something. And, oh, come on, turn around, ref. That's heel 101. That needs to be brought back. It just does. I'm sorry, because otherwise you're going to have every shit heel comes out with a cool metal song they're going to cheer for, and every good guy they're going to boo. And they're getting the undesired effect.
Yeah, I agree with you there, man. That's a good point. But I think the best TV champion of all time in WCW, you can disagree with me if you want. I would say William Regal, Lord Steven Regal. He was an excellent TV champion, I think. He was excellent. The guy was an excellent freaking heel. Okay.
Okay, now
He would bring in his British flag, and then the fans would chant USA. He was an excellent freaking hero. That's just how I feel about
him, yes, and what made him a great heel? He would use his sneaky little manager,
Yes.
doing dirty deeds behind the referee's back. They would stretch that time, but they would stretch that time limit out to the point where he would usually retain by way of time limit draw. The
Right.
challenger tried his best to win. Johnny B. Bad or Arn Anderson or whoever would try to defeat him, and he would do whatever it took to stretch the time limit out. He wasn't even trying to beat his opponent. He was trying to stretch that time out, and that was what made that special. You hated him. You couldn't wait to see him get defeated finally, and when it happened, it mattered.
Yep, I agree. All right, well, that's all I have to say about any wrestling topics. Unless Steve has any more questions, you're the host there, brother. Go ahead.
I really don't have anything left. I'm kind of tired, so
Me too.
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
I have work tomorrow, so I gotta go too.
So do I.
All right, we're just gonna end it. I don't know if you guys can see this right here
Okay. Yeah, Eddie
Eddie
Guerrero.
Guerrero, Frog Splash, yes.
in the middle of the air. That is one of my favorite pictures right there. Took it
Nice.
at a live event in Manchester, New Hampshire, right there.
Cool.
Nice. And Steve, Mark, it was great chatting with you, buddy. Thank you for chatting with me on Twitter. It was awesome.
Yes.
And also, Steve, good luck. Enjoy the show in Boston. Enjoy the Money in the Bank. Let us know how you feel about it. Take some pictures, please. If you have a good phone. You have a good phone?
My camera sucks on my phone, and my seats are pretty high up, so they're not going to come out that
That's
great.
all right. Well, enjoy the show, man. Enjoy the
I'll
experience.
try my best.
All right, guys. All right, gentlemen. I'm gonna go. If you all want to chat amongst yourselves, I'm out of here. Enjoy the show, Steve.
Just plug
Mark.
your Twitter real quick, Mr. Lane.
What's that?
What's your Twitter?
Oh, it's right on. It's on my graphic, man. It's on.
Oh yeah, at
Mr. Lane, sir.
and
Yes.
at the real Mark Golden, and I am Triple H Guy 2004. And
Mr. Lane, hold on, what, Mr. Lane, sir? Tell us about when can we catch this Horseman Hangout we hear so much about?
Well, the Horseman Hangout is on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Right on Hangout. So.
Okay. We'll have to check it out sometime. Hey,
All right,
it was great to have you. Thank you for being on, and we hope you're on again. We had a lot of fun tonight.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank guys.
Good
Good night.